So this is a 10-inch frame from our store, Festive Creations by Stephanie.com. My focal point is actually going to be this farm fresh or fresh flower market sign. And I can't wait to show you what we're going to do with this. But more so, if you have never made a 10-inch, you're going to be surprised at how big of a wreath that you make with this. It is an elevated work frame, which means that it doesn't lay flat on the surface. It raises up with each ring. And just like with any work frame, you want to kind of spread it out. With a 15-inch work form, you have 18 twist ties. On this one, it should be 12. So there are 12 ties on the 10-inch frame. All right, so for this sign, I'm going to be using some of the moss colored. It's actually called moss and apple and lime, the metallic value mesh. So it has the metallic strips in it. So we're going to cut 12 20-inch strips. And if y'all know me, I just throw them on the floor. 2. 12. So the 12 20-inch strips are going to be for around our base, but we're also going to be cutting some ruffles too. And for this sign, what I simply did was take the sign and looked at my shelf and said, what colors are in that sign that I might have that are partial rolls? And I came up with, this was on my shelf, an open roll already. I had some yellow open. So we're going to be using, making some ruffles using this mesh. So let's get started on that. And we're just going to cut, for our ruffles, we're just going to cut 12 inches of each one of these mesh. Three, 4, and I actually only need 5, 6 of each of these colors because we're going to use both the pink and the yellow. All right, 6 of these, and let's get started. All right, so we're going to bring back out our wreath frame. All right, so we're going to start with a 20-inch piece, and we're just going to do a traditional ruffle. So we're just going to walk this right up the center and do a ruffle. And when I do my ruffles, I put it on the bottom first. So if I do the poof method, I start on the top row. If I do a ruffle, I start it on the bottom. And that's mainly because I'm not having to move them out of the way to get to the next ruffle. They're so much fun. And watch when you see what happens with this finished product, because it is still a very, when you think of 10-inch compared to a 15-inch, you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a small wreath. Not at all. Hey, Mary. And of course, it doesn't take as much mesh. So that's helpful as well. But you can still make a beautiful design using 10-inch frames. So now I have the entire bottom row done. So I'm going to go back and do the top row. So we cut our moss mesh in 20-inch strips, and there's 12 twist ties. Look how full it is already. Now I'm just going to take some 12-inch strips and make some baby butterflies. And we're going to just add a little pop of color to kind of pull some more color out of that sign. All right, so from this tip to this tip, it is 22 inches wide. 22. My point is you don't have to have a 15-inch work frame, and you don't have to have a 24, so normally my 15 inches will come out to about 24-inch mark. So it's a couple of inches shorter, but look how full that is with just using the ruffle method on it. And plenty big for like a 12.5-inch sign. Check that out. Check it out. So we started out with the base on this in that moss colored green. And then we took just some, so here's the moss colored green. Then we took some leftover in the yellow and pink because it kind of goes with my sign. And we added another ruffle on top of those. All right, so before we go on, we're actually going to put ribbon tails on before we add the sign. So I'm going to take one of our 2.5 inch, one of our 1.5 inch ribbons, fold it in half, find the center point and pinch, make a little V shape there. And we're going to go around the outside of our wreath frame and just put those right there in that twist tie. So we've gone all the way around the bottom. Isn't that pretty? Now for the top row, I'm actually going to change things up a little bit. So I'm going to take our fresh green or our lime green here, and I'm going to cut, I believe, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5. 1, 2, 3, 5 twist ties on top. I'm going to cut 5 strips of ribbon at 24 inches. I'm going to dovetail this. And now I'm going to make a little bow. This is what it's going to look like. But now when we add our ribbon tails, so I'm going to take my 2.5, my 1.5, fold that in half, pinch it, put it in here, and then before I close it, I'm going to add that fresh green or lime green little bow we just did and give it a little twist. And now look at that. So that is just my ribbon tails with the added extra bow on top. So 24 inches. We're going to need 4 more of those, right? Yes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, let's dovetail these ends. And now we can mass produce that. bow. You could put this in the center and call it done. But I think I am going to add just one bow to it. So I'm going to bring it up a little. Let's cut off the strings here. We're not going to use those in our design today. I'm going to move this out of our way. Turn our sign over. Oh, Sue, aren't they cute? Okay. I'm going to add some pipe cleaners here. Back where they belong. What are the odds? They actually were where they're supposed to be. All right, so I'm going to add pipe cleaners here in all four corners. I think I either just okay, so I'm going to attach our sign here, get it started, and then we'll check it for placement. Yep, I'm good. I wanted to check my placement. And then I don't cut off these pipe cleaners until the very end, just in case I decide to go back and make a change. So that's like the one last thing that I always do to complete a wreath. And I want my little bow ties to kind of stick out here. So I don't want to completely cover them with our sign. So I'm going to kind of rearrange that a little bit. And now we are going to just add one magical little bow to this. Because of the 10-inch frame. There we go. So let's bring out the Easy Bow Maker. Maybe. There we go. I actually had my phone laying on it for comments. There we go. All right, so we're going to use the same 3 ribbon in our bow. Starting with our 2.5 inch. This one is going to have some tails to it. So I'm going to make about an 8-inch tail. Give that a little twist. This is the one thing about the 50-yard rolls is when you put them on the Easy Bow Maker, you got to be careful about how big of a bow you're making. But I'm only coming out to the 6-inch mark, so I'm right here. I've got plenty of room tonight. ribbon number 2. And this one, I'm going to do 2 loops on each side. Bring down my tail. And now we're going to use that lime green. And for this one, we're going to put a center loop. So we're going to do 1 loop on each side, but then we're going to go back and do 1 more small loop in the center. Now, we'll take our pipe cleaner or whatever. I'm sorry, lady. All right, we'll tie this puppy up. Get it all nice and pretty. Set those out of our way. I need to go back and dovetail these, and we will attach our bow. All right, so now we're just going to place that right below our sign. And it's like the hole, the black hole, you can't ever find the end. So we started out with the base mesh of that apple moss green. We added in some more colors that were on our shelf that pulled into the sign. And our ribbon, and oh my goodness. Great for Mother's Day. Great for every day. Great. This is actually one that could hang on your door all year round, or, you know, all season long. So you wouldn't necessarily even have to swap it out, because this could go all warm season long, right? Love, love, love it.